What's up, good folks? Bonafide Queen Bree here. Greetings to you, good folks, and obviously God's people, right? Because just because, everybody say that they're God's people, we know that they're not God's people, right? Obviously, you could tell by what's working for people by the fruits of their labor, or how, they are living, and kind of you can see by, their life and things, right? And it doesn't mean that someone can't be tapped in with spirit or have a relationship with God and can be spiritually well just because their life doesn't look like what one would consider the American dream, because they are so drenched and engulfed in lost in materialism and all these things that really doesn't matter. So when I'm addressing, what I'm addressing, and who the people who I'm talking to is, the people who are God's people. Because just because people are in certain positions, or they feel as though they have certain levels of power because they're power thirsty, they're control thirsty, it doesn't mean that they are godly, right? And some people, they don't even have a knowledge for it, they don't have a yearning, or they don't even have an interest to even be turned towards God. There is a lot of wickedness, as we know. And then, I'm only making this really short video because I just want to speak to the people out there who may be feeling a little disheartened, right? There are people who want to send subliminal messages. The media is a big one. So as we keep saying, the people who are conscious and aware and are, looking around and are observing, not only with your eyes, but with your ears, not only with the two eyes, but with the one that it is between, in between your head, right? It seems as though there is an intentional effort to try to show people certain things. Now, what you see with your eyes, you have to be careful about what you see with your eyes. If you are amongst the people who have a need to know, that's another thing. And, we all should be made aware. But as you can see, there is a lot of negativity in the media, which is another reason why a lot of people has literally been fasting from social media, which I don't think that is a bad idea. And especially a lot of people who actually look like me. So us being very spiritually tapped in is very honorable, and I absolutely love it. We're very spiritually tapped in, so we know when to engage and we know when to go ahead and kind of back off. But at the same time, for people such as myself that has a need to know and want to know and is using certain media outlets for certain things, there is a lot of things that are being shown, and there is a lot of intentional things where we're seeing a lot of violence, and we know how that can affect the psyche and how that can affect the conditioning. Whether this is like a lot of us believe that it is intentional, because people want to create a race war. They want to create issues amongst different cultures of people, or ethnicities, if you will. Whether it is that, or for whatever reason, the enemy, or these people who carry that very demon-like energy, and people who are not very godly, and people who are evil under the scenes and behind the scenes, and then the people who are being supported, but they're all connected to certain people, even in positions of power. You turn on social media and we keep seeing these occurrences and these accounts of instances of these people who look like me, who people are finding them unalived. And if people think that this is a coincidence, or that it's just random things or whatever, it's not a coincidence. Whether it is absolutely true that it is happening, or whether people are making it an intention to keep putting it in the front of the media and sharing these things, whether they're trying to cover up or deter people from the brother Nolan Wells, or whatever the case is. Hopefully people are doing your homework. My question is, what are the people, the brothers and sisters, the people that look like me in Mississippi? What is going on in Mississippi, and what are you guys doing for real? Because this is not normal, and it's not okay. And if people aren't talking about bringing attention and sounding the alarm on the bad things that are happening in Mississippi, That is a problem. And like I said, you know, with the issues with in Houston at that particular time, and then what's going on in Mississippi, as I said before, I'll say it again, Mississippi, we have a problem. Now, you know, there is a thing where people will try to bring a horror or horrific type of energy to your existence, to your world, because of the things that you see. Now, for the you know, the good folks that I follow online and that I tap in with, who are encouraging people to be careful about their diets, meaning the things that you intake, to include media, the things that you are listening to, the things that you are seeing, right? Even people in your day-to-day life, because there are a lot of weirdos, and even there are people in, you know, so-called positions of power who probably should not be in certain positions. There are people who are moving in certain type of ways, and they will try to bring a certain energy to you. They will try to make you feel timid, or like you need to walk on eggshells, or like, you know, sharing certain images and certain things in the media to make you feel frightened. First and foremost, everybody is not racist. Second of all, the whole world is not dealing with the horrors that Mississippi is doing, and everybody is not a demon. There are a lot of people who are evil that are moving around us, but everybody is not evil, and everybody don't have ill will. So that's where discernment come into play, and that's where understanding and learning who is who. And it really don't take a lot to understand that. But for people to purposely try to share things and do things to try to intimidate people, that says a lot. And my message to you, whomever shall come across this quick video message, do not be dismayed, do not be swayed, do not be moved by the way of the devil, because people, especially in this time, because of the things that I am observing, people are trying to use horrific imagery, and they're trying to use horror to try to control people. Now, I don't know about you, but the enemy doesn't scare a damn thing over here. And quite frankly, I am well, but I know that me being a strong woman, I know that everybody does not carry the energy that I carry. And yes, I am very concerned. I am well in this time, and I'm very, you know, I'm very concerned. But I know that there's a lot of people who are not well, and I know that there are certain people who don't carry as much strength, and I also know that there are some people who are going to see certain things online, and even in their reality, because of the things that they see online, these things are very influential, and what they'll do is they'll continue to go about their day, and they'll lead a life of complete horror, being timid, living in you know, a scarce way of living, or being scared, being fearful. So there are people who are trying to play bully. A bully is a coward. And really, you know, I'm never worried, but I am concerned. There are some people who are literally not well in this time. Mississippi, America has its eyes on you, and the world has its eyes on you. What I would close this upload with is stand in your power and stay positive, stay in love. The opposite of what these enemies are trying to, you know, show. They're trying to pump horror within you, and unease and discomfort. The enemy is not gonna win. And check on your brother and your sister, and especially those relationships and connections where it is reciprocated, where you're getting that back. And I had to specifically say that because I know a lot of people will say, I'm not showing love to this person or that person because, you know, we have these issues, and some families have broken relationships, there's miscommunication and all of the above. But in this time, I believe I am encouraging people to get with the people that you can trust, and the people that you know that you can trust, that you're on the same page with. These demons are you know, they're not sleeping. They're on overtime, if you know what I mean, right? So let's make sure we're staying empowered, that we're staying in love, and that, again, as I'm always say, that we're staying peaceful where it's reciprocated. And make sure that you're always staying protected, that you're staying prepared, and that is spiritually and physically.